1 Peter 5, verses 1 through 8. The elders who are among you I exhort. I, who am a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that will be revealed, shepherd the flock of God which is among you, serving as overseers, not by compulsion, but willingly, not for dishonest gain, but eagerly, nor as being lords over the house entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the crown of glory that does not fade away. Likewise, you younger people, submit yourselves to the elders. Yes, all of you be submissive to one another, and be clothed with humility, for God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. He walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. In 1964, Paul Harvey wrote an article for a newspaper called If I Were the Devil. It was broadcast in 1965. There's been lots of variations and versions of that. I went back and found the original article that he wrote in 1964. It says, if I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I would want to engulf the whole earth in darkness. I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population. But I wouldn't be happy until I'd seized the ripest apple on the tree. He's talking about America. So I should set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I would begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve. Do as you please. To the young I would whisper, the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God rather than the other way around. I would confide that what is bad is good and what is good is square. In the ears of the young married, I would whisper that work is debasing, that cocktail parties are good for you. I would caution them not to be extreme in religion, patriotism, and moral conduct. And on the old, I would teach to pray, to say after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. Then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd infiltrate unions and urge more loafing, less work. Idle hands usually work for me. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Let those run wild. I'd designate an atheist to front for me before the highest courts, and I'd get the preachers to say, she's right. With flattery and promises of power, I would get to the courts to vote against God in favor of pornography. Thus I would evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, then from the houses of Congress. Then in his own churches, I'd substitute psychology for religion and deify science. If I were Satan, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg. I'd make the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I'd killed the incentive of the ambitious. Then my police state would force everybody back to work. Then I would separate families, putting children in uniform, women in coal mines, and objectors in slave labor camps. If I were Satan, I'd just keep doing what I'm doing. and the whole world go to hell as sure as the devil. Later versions of his article included some of these lines. If I were the devil, I would gain control of the most powerful nation in the world. I would delude their minds into thinking that they had come from man's effort instead of God's blessing. I would promote an attitude of loving things and using people instead of the other way around. I would convince people that character is not an issue when it comes to leadership. I would make it legal to take the life of unborn babies. I would make it socially acceptable to take one's own life and invent machines to make it convenient. I would cheapen human life as much as possible so that the life of animals are valued more than human beings. After expelling God out of schools, I would make it where even the mention of his name was an offense and grounds for a lawsuit. I would come up with drugs to sedate the mind and target the young. I would get sports heroes to advertise them. I would get control of the media so that every night I could pollute the mind of every family member for my agenda. I would attack the family, the backbone of any nation. I would make divorce acceptable and easy, even fashionable. If the family crumbles, so does the nation. I would compel people to express the most depraved fantasies on canvas and movie screens and in music, and I would call it art. I would convince the world that people are born with a wide and various number of sexual orientations, and that whatever their lifestyle choice is, it should be accepted and marveled and even praised as courageous. I would convince the people that right and wrong are determined by a few who call themselves authorities and refer to their agenda as politically correct. I would persuade people that church is irrelevant and out of date, and that the Bible is for the naive. I would dull the minds of Christians and make them believe that prayer is not important, and that faithfulness and obedience are optional. I was watching today on YouTube a video of National Geographic about lions and how they go seeking their prey. They are extremely cunning. And I heard Gloria Gaither say this recently. She said, I think as a Christian community, we are a community of idolaters, worshiping our forms rather than our Christ. And this does not mean just the forms of the past, it means the forms of the present. Beware. And then she talks about this video where a lion was chasing after a herd of deer. Now, any deer can outrun a lion, but a lion is very smart. A lion knows that if it runs long enough behind the flock or behind the herd, that gradually the old and the young and the infirm will not be able to keep up. The lion will separate those, the young, the old, and the infirm, will separate them from the herd, and then they're easy prey. If I were Satan and I wanted to divide the body of Christ, I'd make them weak. If I wanted to make them weak and I wanted to take them down, here's what I'd do. I'd make sure there wasn't any content in their music or their message. Not enough content in the message to take you and give you endurance through the hard stuff.